What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Match Me Abroad Season 2, Episode 6, Smoke and Mirrors. Y'all, let's get into Monica. Monica has some issues, okay? I don't know if Monica was ever married, but I know why Monica is single. Monica is a ball of emotional, hormonal confusion. Monica dates like a teenager. You go out on a date with a boy, you start kissing, making out, and you think because the makeout session went so great that this is the man for you. This is the man of your dreams. This is your soulmate. Y'all are just eternally connected forever and ever. And it's like, Monica, you're a grown woman. You're 40 years old. You have a 21-year-old daughter. I need you to date like a grown, mature woman, okay? Not like a 16-year-old with braces and pimples. So she goes on her very first date with Bruno. Now, Bruno, she's a little bit more familiar with than Bernardo because Bernardo, it was sight unseen. But Bruno, she's familiar with him because before she left for Brazil, I think her matchmaker sent her like a video profile of Bruno, of him talking about who he is, what he's looking for in a woman, etc. So she's a little bit familiar with Bruno, right? So when they meet for the very first time, there is that mutual attraction. I don't think Monica has ever met a man that she wasn't attracted to. So there's that mutual attraction. The date is they're going to be rollerblading. She's never rollerbladed before in her life. And so she's out to experience, new things, which is great. She's adventurous, which is wonderful. So when she puts on her helmet, she puts it on backwards, and Bruno has to put it on for her. He also helps her put on her rollerblades and her knee pads. So I guess he's very attentive in that way. I don't know if other people would feel uncomfortable with that, but he was like, taking care of her, making sure that all of her equipment was on right. So she's asking him, what do you do for a living? He says he is a business consultant, I guess, slash journalist. So they're talking, they're rollerblading, getting to know each other better. She tells him that she has a 21-year-old daughter. And then, no, I'm sorry, let me take that back. Let me really set up the scene for y'all. I felt like Monica was fishing for a compliment. She was wanting him to say, oh, you look so young, or you don't look like you're old enough to have a daughter that old, because this is how she phrased it. She says, I have a daughter. And he was like, oh, you have a daughter? And she says, guess how old she is? And he says, I don't know, 10. And she's like, no, older, older. So she tells him she has a 21-year-old daughter. And of course, he's like, oh my God, you don't look like you would have a daughter that old. I felt like she was fishing for that, you look younger than you are compliment. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. So while they're rollerblading, he's asking her if she wants more children. And she says, hell no. And so he's like, that's great because I don't want any more children. I'm not looking for someone to mother my children. I'm looking for a wife. He doesn't have any children. He doesn't want any kids. She doesn't want any more kids. So far, so good, right? So everything is going good. The date is going really, really good. Now, Monica, this is where I knew that Monica wasn't working with a full deck. She now begins to feel very conflicted, okay, because she likes Bernardo, her first date, and she really likes Bruno, her second date. So now she's like all conflicted. And I'm like, girl, you went on one date with each guy. You don't know anything about these men. You don't know them from a hill of beans. You know nothing about them. If they're good partners, if they have what it takes to be a good husband for you, you know nothing about these men are strangers. Why are you conflicted about strangers? Men who you don't really know and who don't really know you. But she's all conflicted now, right? So then so now they're sitting down, they have something to eat, they're talking, they're vibing. They're sitting like on like on a little short wall or something, or a bench, and so they're facing each other as they're talking, and they're sitting really close to each other, right? And you can tell that there's definitely chemistry there, mutual attraction. They're liking each other. He's cute, she's cute, they're really liking each other, right? So her matchmaker, Luisa, had told her, when you go on your date with Bruno, I'm going to ask you, no, I'm going to tell you, no, I'm going to demand that you do not kiss Bruno. Because whenever she gets, to making out with these guys and all of these hormones are flying, she becomes confused. Her attraction for the men, the chemistry and all of that is like clouding her judgment, right? She's just so clouded by all of the physicality and the physical attraction that she really can't do what she needs to do to find out if these men are really good matches for her, because she's basing everything like on physical attraction and how good they kiss. So as they're sitting there vibing, looking at each other, deeply in each other's eyes, they kiss. They didn't just kiss. They do what the teenagers used to call suck face. Okay, they were sucking face. They were kissing so deeply and so intensely. I knew that Monica was gone. I knew that all judgment, all hopes for her making a decent judgment or a educated analysis of the situation, like critiquing him the way she needs to critique him, all of that I knew was flying out the damn window when he was like had her tongue down her tonsils. It was over with. So they're kissing very deeply, and Monica tells us that she feels like Bruno really, really wants her, and she feels like Bruno really likes her. Why? Because y'all are, playing tongue hockey. That's what you're basing this on, that he really likes you because, he's kissing you, not because, he's helped you in a time of need. He was a shoulder to cry on. He's a good conversationalist. He's got a great sense of humor. Y'all have been through the thick and not none of that. It's just because of the fact that y'all were sitting on this bench and kissing and making out. That's how you were able to judge that he really, really likes you. She dates like a teenager, not a 40-year-old woman who has a 21-year-old daughter. After that kiss, she's even more conflicted. She's even more confused. She doesn't know what to do because both guys are just so great. Based on what, Monica? You've been on one date with each of them. How are they both so great? And how are you so confused? So the next time that we see Monica, she's in her hotel room and she's like going through a major dilemma because she likes two men and she's been cheated on before in the past. And she talks about how, nobody wants to be cheated on. It's a really bad feeling to be cheated on. So she's like, but I feel like I'm cheating. She feels like she's cheating on Bernardo because she has such a great date with Bruno and they kissed. So she's like, I have to confess. I have to call I have to call Bernardo and I have to tell him what I've been doing. I have to tell him what a harlot I've been behind his back. He has to know. He has to know the full truth. So she calls him, and y'all, as she's talking to Bernardo, date number one, she's literally crashing out. She's crying, tears and snot are running down her face. So she's talking to him on the phone, and he asks her, after they say hello, hello, how are you? He asks her, so how was your day? And she's like, I've got something to tell you, Bernardo. I've got something to tell. And he's like, what happened? And she goes, I went out on a date, and it was such a great date, and we kissed. And that's where her segment ended. Monica, it's not that crucial. It's not that crucial. It's not that deep. While you're having all of these, you're feeling so guilty because you kissed Bruno behind Bernardo's back. Do you know how many women Bernardo has kissed or done more with since the last time you saw him? You think he's sitting at his apartment or whatever, staring at the wall, twiddling his thumbs with his phone right next to him, waiting for you to call him? Sitting there thinking about what's Monica doing right now. I wonder what's going on with Monica. You don't think he's living his life and doing his own thing? You think he's just sitting around waiting on you to call? Girl, please. Child, I can't. Monica, no. Monica, I don't know what's going on with you, girl, but now I can see why you're single. You're emotionally immature. You're emotionally immature. You're supposed to be having a great time in Brazil, not sitting in your hotel room crying, not feeling like you cheated on your husband of 25 years. You're supposed to be having a good time, dating as many men as possible. It's nobody's business what you're doing. You should not have felt the need to tell excuse me, you should not have felt the need to tell Bernardo that you had gone on a great date with Bruno and y'all kissed. It's none of his business. These men know that they're just trying to figure things out. They're having a good time. You're not committed to anybody. You went on one date. You went on one date, and not even much happened on that date because of the language barrier. You went on one date. You can even tell us what these men's favorite color is, their favorite dish, why they broke up with their last girlfriends, their hopes and dreams and aspirations. What is their parents' name? What are their siblings? You can't tell us anything about these men other than they're great kissers. Moving on to Sarah. Y'all, I'm gonna keep it real simple and short with Sarah. After her date with Freddie, you know, Freddie, the DJ, living with his mom, which is very common in Singapore, not a big deal. Um, took her out on a date in the red light district and they had a frog soup. Okay, that's Sarah. So she meets up with her matchmaker. Basically, um, she tells her matchmaker, I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. She tells her basically what she said, he's too poor. He's too poor for me. He cannot sustain the kind of lifestyle that I'm living. I'm talking in Sarah Lee's, in like Sarah language. I'm breaking it down. This is not exactly what she told her matchmaker. Of course, she told Dolly, well, he was really great, you know, he was cute, but I just don't know if he's like, you know, ambitious enough for me. Is that what she said? I don't know really know if he's, you know, that as established as I would like him to be. Basically, he's broke. He's too broke for me. He doesn't have enough money for me. I think what Sarah did, the reason why she's in Singapore, I think that she Googled where can I find the richest men in the world, and I think maybe Singapore was up maybe in the top 10 or the top 15 or something, and that's why she's in Singapore. I don't think she really cares about the culture. I don't think she really cares about the men in Singapore. I think she just thought that this is where a lot of rich men live. I think her next stop might be Dubai. So she's there to try to find a very rich man. And Freddie wasn't it. And like I said in my last review, I understand what Dolly's trying to do. She's trying to have Sarah think outside the box, try something different because you've been chasing rich men your whole life. You're still single, you're still miserable, and you're still looking for love. Okay. Even though you have a type, that type hasn't been working out for you. So Dolly wants her to explore new horizons and something. Oh, we all get it. We understand. But I think a really good matchmaker, this is my personal opinion. I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying that this is what would work with everybody. But I think a really good matchmaker would be someone who gives you exactly what you want and then some. Give her the rich man that she's looking for, the millionaire, whatever the hell she's looking for. Give her that, but also someone who is willing to see past the surface of Sarah. Someone who will know how to get deeper with Sarah, who someone who will know how to uh, help her show her vulnerabilities, help her, you know, be more real with herself, make her feel comfortable with who she really is. Because all the makeup and all the hair and all of this and that and all the surgeries, obviously she's very insecure. She's hiding a lot of insecurities. So if Dolly could find her a rich man who can break through this barrier, who can make her feel comfortable with without all of this glam. That's to me the true test of a matchmaker. She gets what she wants, a man that she's attracted to, a man that can make her feel secure, financially secure, because she says she's looking for a man who's like her father. Her father was a provider. I think her mother stayed home. So that's what she's looking for, that financial security, that provider. She also says, if I can afford me, I don't know if she actually said this or I thought she said this, but it's like if I can afford me, because she thinks that, you know, she makes a lot of money and she can afford all of the name brand stuff that she wears. If I can afford me, then I need a man who can do the same or better. I need a man who can afford me and then some. And Dolly tells her, well, you know, you wear a lot of brands. Okay. You got on a whole bunch of brands. This might be intimidating to some men. Are you willing to compromise? And even her mom said the same thing. Yeah, Sarah, are you willing to compromise? And Sarah's like, no, I'm not going to compromise. You know, I have established myself at a certain level and I need a man to help sustain that or take me even further up. I'm not going to go below that. And then she tells Dolly, if I'm still single in 5 years, then yeah, I might compromise. But right now, because she thinks she still got it, she thinks she's young, she thinks she's beautiful, she still got it. So she's like, for now, I'm not going to compromise. I'm not compromising. So, like I said, if Dolly can get her a rich man who can truly, you know, want to get to know the real Sarah, who can help bring out the real Sarah, who can help bring out her vulnerabilities, who can help her feel comfortable with who she really is, even without the hair and without the makeup, without the nails, without the name brands. If she can find a man like that, that to me, I'd be like, Dolly, you are doing the damn thing. But if you're gonna keep on matching her with average looking men who are poor, yeah, it's not gonna work. Moving on to Harold. Harold is still on his date with Amber. So after eating pig ears, Harold suggests that they go fly a kite. I was kind of worried because it was raining, and I thought that kites attracted lightning bolts or something, but whatever. So they're getting to know each other better. They're riding in the Uber to the park where they're going to be flying kites, and they're talking. I forgot what she asked. Oh, I think she was asking him about his job, his career, what he does for a living. So he was explaining that, and then when there was like a lull in the conversation, he asks her if he could touch her. And, she was okay with it. And so they were holding hands. So they're holding hands at the back of the Uber. And Amber says that the chemistry between them is uncomfortable. I've never known of chemistry to be uncomfortable. I thought chemistry was a good thing. Either you have it or you don't. But I guess there is such a thing as bad chemistry. I don't know. But she said that the chemistry between them is uncomfortable. And she tells us that she was okay with holding his hand. Um, because Harold's time in Singapore is very limited. So they need to like establish some type of intimacy, physical contact to see if things could go further, possibly. But she said that holding his chubby hands felt like a sponge, but it was comfortable. Okay, I was so confused. The chemistry is uncomfortable, but she's okay with holding his chubby hands. That was comfortable. Like I was so confused about Amber. So they get to the park. They're flying kites. Poor Harold, he's running around with this kite, and his shorts keep falling because he doesn't have his suspenders. His trusty suspenders. And I'm thinking, Harold, there are such things as belts. But you know what about the suspenders? I think that it's okay for Harold to wear suspenders. If that's what he likes and that's what he's comfortable with, it's okay. And the woman for Harold would be the woman who doesn't mind his suspenders. I don't think that the matchmakers should tell him, don't wear your suspenders. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what he likes, that's what he's comfortable with, let him wear his damn suspenders. Because if he is faking the funk and doesn't wear them, and he pretends to be the kind of guy who doesn't wear suspenders, if he does find the right woman, eventually he's going to fall back to his suspenders. And what if that's a problem with her later? You know what I mean? So he should just always bring who he really is at the forefront all the time. And if he's a suspender guy, he's a suspender guy. And like I said, the woman for Harold won't mind it. So they're out there flying the kite. She really didn't enjoy it, and Harold could tell that she wasn't having a good time. So they eventually sit down to talk, and Amber asks him, what does he look for in a wife? And he gave some really good answers. He said he was looking for a wife who's very patient with him, understanding. He said a whole bunch of things, deep things that the matchmakers like. He didn't talk about anything regarding looks. Unlike your boy Tony, who's only looking for a good body and long hair, Harold got deeper, like someone he can connect with, he can talk to, he can trust. Someone who's, I guess, dependable and someone that he can feel comfortable with, etc. All the good things. So he then reveals to Amber he felt like this was a good time to tell Amber that he was autistic. And she didn't mind at all. And she even says in her confessional, if he hadn't have told me, I never would have known that he was autistic because, he's on the spectrum. So after they talk about that, Amber says that she is talking about, she tells him that I'm dating with a purpose. I'm dating with the purpose of getting married. I'm not playing around. I want to get married. I want a husband. And so she says that she's an only child. And so her parents are very concerned about her finding a husband, obviously, because once they're gone, she's going to be completely alone. So they really want her to get married. And so she tells Harold that, in order for things to work out with me or for you to have any chance with me, you're going to have to not only impress my parents and my family, but you're going to also have to impress, my friends. And you're also going to have to impress my ex boss. I was like, your ex boss? What? So she says her ex boss, for whatever reason, is very invested in her personal life. And so he also has to pass the test with the ex boss. Moving on to Tony. Okay. Tony is going to be a lot for his matchmaker and for me. So Tony is about to go on his very first date, and Louisa, his matchmaker, has set him up for a blind dating experiment, which means that both Tony and his date or dates, because she set up three women for him to date, um, they're all going to be wearing blindfolds. They're not going to see each other at all because she really is trying to get this guy to get to know a woman on a deeper level instead of just, you know, going for long hair and a nice body. she really wants him to get to know the woman as a person. So if he's not distracted by looks, maybe he'll have a chance to get to know somebody. So the three dates that she sets him up with, now he's dating them individually, not all at the same time, but individually. The three he will choose from, the dates that she sets up for him, he's going to choose one that he connects with the most, and that's the one that he's going to go on a second date with. I'm assuming without the blindfold. So one of them, as they're talking, they're like feeling each other, and she feels that he has a bald head. She's okay with bald heads. He's feeling her. He's asking, about her hair. She says, my hair is very long, and he's feeling her hair, and it's long, so he's happy about that. And he asks her, how long has she been single? And she said, I've been single for 5 years. And he was like, oh my God, 5 years? You've been celibate for 5 years? He equates singlehood with celibacy, which is very strange, or abstinence, because I think celibacy is like a religious thing. She's just been abstinent for 5 years. And so she was like, well, I've been single. I haven't been abstinent, but I have been single. So then that bothers Tony, because he thinks that if you're not dating someone, then you should be abstinent. Then the producers asked him in his confessional, are you abstinent? And he didn't want to answer that question. So I guess what's good for the gander ain't good for the goose, or however that goes. So one of the other women had a kid. She was a DJ, but had a child, and he thought that was kind of strange. And then the other woman had short hair. So this was like a total bust. I didn't even see the point of that whatsoever, because it doesn't matter if he connects with, if he would have, he didn't connect with any of them, but if he would have connected with one of them, it wouldn't have mattered, because as soon as he saw them, a guy like Tony would have been like, oh, it's not going to work because, she's not fit. Her hair is short. She's got kids or whatever. Unlike Harold, and I'm comparing the two because I think these are the only two men on the show. Unlike Harold, Harold would not have minded, if this woman wasn't physically his type. Harold is really looking for a partner, I feel like. And so Harold would not have minded if if he prefers long hair, but she's got short hair, he wouldn't have minded. He wouldn't have minded if she wasn't in the best physical shape. He wouldn't have minded. Harold is all about trying to make a connection, whereas Tony is still looking for eye candy. I don't even know why. Why can't they match? Oh, he's not rich enough. I was going to say, why can't they just match Tony with Sarah? But yeah, he's not rich enough for Sarah. And she's the kind of women that Tony tries to avoid. Pretty women who are just looking for a sugar daddy. Like I said, if Luisa can find him a woman that he's physically attracted to, but someone who can help him become a deeper person, who can help him connect with another human on a deeper level, but she's also physically appealing to him, I think that's a win-win. Or is that dumb to think that? Or am I just, is it just like wishful thinking and not realistic at all? Like, you have to be with someone that you're not physically attracted to in order for it to work, and have to move past that, and have to pray and hope that you do find physical attraction somewhere down the line. Is that how it really goes? Because I don't see anything wrong with them finding a partner that they're attracted to. But the key is, the true talent of a matchmaker would be, I've given you like the full package. Of course, nobody's perfect, and there's going to be issues with everybody. But to be like, you love long hair, just get past the buzz cut. You love rich men, just forget about the fact that he lives in a cardboard box, and still try to get to know him as a person. It's just not going to work. That's how I think. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.